And a pleasant Saturday here at Lone Star Park at Grand Prairie alongside Rick Lee, track handicapper and morning line maker. I'm Jim Byers. It's another beautiful day here at Lone Star Park. We're fast and firm once again. More beautiful, hot, technically spring conditions, although it feels a lot more like summer. But we're glad you've joined us. Beautiful day, a dollar day here. So if you're out on track, dollar hot dogs, programs, Pepsi, beer, popcorn, general admission, so a lot of fun. Rick, we got a lot to cover today. We also have a video race, so let's get right on to it. First race, scratch the 2 Hawkeye Girl, scratch the 3 Shakalaka Laka, who was a main track only. This looks like it could very well be a Broberg opener, 5/8 on turf for $15,000 fillies.
Yeah, it's a good race. The 9 Cobra Casablanca for Broberg. I like this one the most. So many things to like. 2 career races on our turf course here. Both produced wins for this mare. They were both in $15,000 claiming races last summer at Lone Star. This is a $15,000 claiming race. If you look at Houston, most recent turf sprint, this 6-year-old mare again, a clear winner for $15,000. She's very fast. I expect her to get to the lead. The only thing that concerns me at all, and this has nothing to do with the horse, is that Broberg put his go-to guy on Chikara. So I got to deal with that as a handicapper. The 4 Summer Sangria for Asmussen. This is my second selection. She finishes just behind Casablanca in her last race, Cobra. Miss Aggie Bling finishing second in her previous start in a turf sprint at Houston. So 2 straight second-place finishes. Very consistent. Always bet down around that 2-1 range. Finished in the exact in 7 of 12 turf sprints. So she's just in really good form. No surprise if she were to win. And then Chikara, who I mentioned a little bit, Broberg gets his go-to guy on this one. Eccleberry, who they're having a great meet. Good win at Remington for $15,000. Been in a little stronger than that of late. Takes blinkers off. Not a lot of early speed, which usually is not conducive to winning over this turf course. She is 0 for 5 here in her career. And again, she'll be finishing very fast. It's just, will she be left with too much to do?
Yeah, and that's a big question. On both of our surfaces this week, it's been advantageous to be up on or very near the front and the rail, but their horses have come from out of it on the main track this week on rare occasions. And on the turf, obviously it's better in this course to be forwardly placed. To me, the Summer Sangria and Cobra Casablanca were kind of a coin flip. I went with Summer Sangria. First time on this turf course, but she loves the sprint and she loves the turf. We'll see how she takes to this course. She has been on a run of seconds, but I think they've been pretty good races. I think her form is good. I took Chikara second, mainly on the Broberg-Eccleberry angle, figuring he might be tipping his hand that he thinks Chikara might be a little bit better of the 2 on this particular day. Cobra Casablanca, a lot to like about her. She has really good gas from the outside. I'm not really sure why they would have run her in that main track 5/8 race at Will Rogers last time, and she didn't run very well in that particular spot, but she really likes this turf. Second race. Non-winners of 3 life. This is an allowance, 3-year-olds and up, 3/4 of a mile.
Yeah, a nice allowance field. Only 6, but Spite and Malice. This is my top selection here. No one's going to be bet down too heavily, even though it's just a 6-horse field. I think it's very competitive in here. This horse last time out earned a really nice buyer figure, clearing that first allowance conditioning, winning by 5 1/2 lengths. The 4th place finisher in here, Horn of Plenty, won here last night. The horse is getting really good. You can see a sprint off the bench at Remington, winning a maiden special weight by 6. A couple races I think you can make an excuse for. Just off that really sharp race at Houston. Good recent works for a trainer who a lot of people got a little bit familiar with in here, Sean Davis last year. Off to a good start this year as well. The 3 Silver Wings for trainer Karen Jacks, added blinkers 3 starts ago, has shown really improved early speed. May be able to make a clear lead in this spot. That's why I think she's so dangerous, or he's so dangerous. Earned a very strong buyer speed figure last time out, winning a one other than of 86. That was a dead heat win. 3 lengths back to third. If he can reproduce that figure, and just based on the fact that he may get a real easy lead in this spot, certainly very dangerous. And the 2, I picked this one just off a really strong workout, picking it up, laying it down. This one has been at Turf Paradise, been heavily bet in each start, shows tactical speed. Last time out, overcame a little bit of trouble to win going away. Just off the workout and the good races in Arizona, I just think at 10-1 might be worth a little bit of a shot.
Oh, I agree. I have this horse 4th as well. I nudged Charlie Can Do up into the 3rd spot ahead of him. But, this one, like the first race, kind of a choice between 2 from where I sit, and I went with Silver Wings. I'm a little skeptical of horses piling up win streaks because you just wonder how long can they keep going. I mean, even the Yankees, don't sweep every series. Silver Wings and Spite and Malice both come off career best buyers, and that's another thing where you're like, Gary West used to say there's only been one set of back-to-back no-hitters. And but Silver Wings is going real well. You mentioned the blinkers. It seems like he really likes the blinkers. I'm going to give him the nod over Spite and Malice. Interesting that Alvarez is sticking with Spite and Malice and giving up seemingly Silver Wings. And it's not like either of these outfits, Karen Jacks or Sean Davis, has 8 million horses where they would be obliged to ride, both barns are winning at about the same rate. Charlie Can Do is interesting because I just don't know if he's a sprinter, and he doesn't win very much, but he's got the Broberg-Eckelberry factor, and he had a good Oaklawn meet.
Yep.
So, on to the 3rd. 7/8 of a mile. We've got a couple of those races today. Those are always interesting. Non-winners of 2 in this one.
Yeah, it's not usual I get my PPs messed up, but here we go. The 4, Skywave, is my top selection here. This one, I felt like, I feel good that it have some value in here. The 2 sprints at 7/8 of a mile, and this is a 7-furlong race. The 2 at Houston were very good maiden special weight races. The one to key on, if you like this, is the very close second behind Paluxy. Paluxy reeled off 3 straight wins, an allowance win. Paluxy earned a buyer speed figure of 90, previous to kind of a disappointing first start here at Lone Star Park. But if you look at Paluxy's races at Houston, they were just so superior. And Scott Young does a tremendous job. Route to sprint, he's a 28% trainer. I thought Skywave was a really interesting horse. It, should be a square price. The 6 Ready Edge for Broberg has the fastest pace figures in the race. You assume he's going to zip out there and probably take early command. Last time out, he was claimed from the Gellner stable at Lone Star Park here opening weekend. Did have a really sharp maiden special weight win at Houston. Just consistent early speed, and again, top connections. And then let's go to the 7, True Diamond, who made his debut at Houston, won by 2.5 lengths at 7 furlongs. The Asmussen trainee then took on optional claimers at a mile. Was very disappointing at 7-2, kind of tired, making you think, well, maybe he just doesn't want to go this far. Cuts back to the distance of his maiden win. And again, it's Asmussen, a really favorable outside post position draw as well.
I took him on top. He's barely 3 years old. He was foaled on April 24th of 2019. So he's young. He's facing olders, but at this time of year, I'm not as likely to throw horses out for that reason. The 7-furlong maiden win was good. I like the work pattern. I mean, it's a nice, consistent, steady work pattern, certainly not flashy. So I'm going to take True Diamond from the outside here. And Skywave, I like that turf to dirt move for him. I think he's, that's a really nice pick. And then my 3rd pick is the 1, Reveneer. Puts blinkers on for Gustafson. Added Lasix back last time. Ran okay at a mile on the turf. Now gets back to the dirt, which might be his best surface. Ready Edge, he did have a race last week. He raced on Derby Day. Might not show up in all the PPs because he's running back really, really fast. But he was 19-1 in a non-winners of 3 allowance. Broberg, as he sometimes does, mixes things up with a first off the claim, and he stepped him way up, sprinted him 5/8. Now he gets him back to a more reasonable spot. But, boy, he's coming back really fast. and so I passed on him.
Yeah, one quick thing about Revner. I'm glad you brought the horse up. Finished second in the Clever Trevor at 7 furlongs behind Alpando, who at the time people thought Alpando was going to be a really special horse, but he's been on the sidelines now for a very long time.
So yeah, last year, I mean, he was his long shot, but he was the Springboard Mile and Clever Trevor horse, and a nice maiden winner at Remington. Fourth race. Got a couple scratches out of the fourth, the 5 Magna Punch and the 6 Brahms Boy, 5/8 of a mile here, claiming non-winners of 2.
Yeah, and I like the 7 Salado. I made him a very short price. Hopefully he hasn't run since April 15th.
No, he has not.
You never know at Broberg. But anyway, this horse has easily the fastest speed figures in the race. The fastest pace figures in the race. Looks like to me he's going to get a really easy early lead in here. Has not been to this low of a claiming price in his career. So I'm just going to make this my most likely winner. This isn't the type of horse I usually like to wager on. The 3 horse in here, He's a Bomb. If you just isolate his turf sprints, you actually can make a pretty good case for him. The most recent time he turf sprinted was at Houston in a non-winners of 2 for 25, today's exact condition, finishing second. Then you have to skip a few races to Remington, runs a good figure in a troubled trip against allowance runners, and then at Lone Star Park, which might be the most important race, wins a maiden special weight race here, turf sprinting. So He's a Bomb, again, just isolating turf sprints. Looks like he's a very consistent kind of a closer type. And then the 8 Jackman's ride for Kerry Craddock. Only turf sprint was at this condition at Houston in January. Coming off a bit of a layoff, was bet down to favoritism that day. Kind of had a one-paced race. Returns fresh again. Has, tactical speed. I expect this one to be, stalking Salado. And if Salado, with this only one career turf race, if he doesn't care for this course for some reason, a Jackman's ride could be sitting in a really perfect position.
Yeah, no doubt. I'm on the favorite in this one as well. We had a discussion. I happened to be at Oaklawn when he ran on January 1st, and he was owned by Brad Grady at that point, who is as far as I know, a born and bred Texan. And there was a discussion whether that was Salado, which is the town in Texas.
Oh, okay.
North of, up in the central Texas around Killeen, or Salado, which is the Spanish word for salad, I do believe. Vic went with Salado at Oaklawn. I think since we're in Texas, I'm going to go with Salado. It doesn't matter, but, he had a really nice Oaklawn meet. In fact, I think he was maybe my only winner on that Jan 1st card at Oaklawn that I handicapped that day, so I tend to remember that. I like him, obviously a lot in here. My third pick, I'm with He's a Bomb too. My third pick, Ironical, goes Asmussen to Gustafson. They thought enough of this horse to put him in the Groovy at Houston. That didn't work out. We'll try a turf sprint for him, just, fishing for a long shot. On to the 5th. Starts the 6-shooter, $3,431 in the carryover in today's 6-shooter, 7/8 of a mile. Scratch the outside horse, the 7 Little Big Man.
Yeah, and I'm going to go with the 2 Available Star. This is another race with a small field, but I don't think anyone's going to be, heavily favored in here. Available Star last time out finished third in a really strong optional claimer. Electoral was on a nice win streak. The horse that finished second in that race, Sir Smack, went to Evangeline Downs off that effort and ran an 84 buyer speed figure in victory. This horse, won race before that at Delta Downs at 7/8 of a mile, the distance of today's race, albeit the Delta Downs 7/8 races are around 2 turns. But I just like Available Star's ability to just really be in somewhat of a striking position and a really good finisher. So I'm going to take him in this spot. The 3 Declined is another one who finished behind Available Star last time out in that same race that was so productive with the Electoral and Sir Smack. Do notice that Declined was a shorter price than Available Star that day. That's always worth mentioning. And he's run better races at Lone Star in limited opportunities. So I like Declined from relatively close to the pace. And then Tensis Toddy. Not a lot of early speed from this one. So 7/8 of a mile might be the only sprint distance he could probably win at. Won his last start for 5, moving up into an optional claimer. A pretty big jump in class here. But he's run some big races. The buyer figure certainly fit with his A race. And again, with this trainer-rider team, you never say never.
Well, and you hit the key theme there with a race. I mean, when he's good, he's very good, and he's pretty good at these lower levels. He can throw in some real clunkers when they put him in a little too high against Louisiana breds. I've got actually him second. I'm going with a bit of a shot here. George Bryant used to be part of an ownership group. His dad used to train. Now he's out on his own. Good luck to him. He sends out his first starter here with Rancho Bargo, who just had a front-running win going 2 turns here for $4,000. He claimed him. Bryant did. Now he wheels him back here a couple of weeks later. I thought he showed great gameness in that race 2 weeks ago. He goes from a 2-turn mile, 1 mile, to a 1-turn 7/8. I like that angle. I'm going to take him to try to maybe wire the field. I got Rancho Bargo over Tensaw Toddy and declined.
Yeah, you can't beat Rancho Bargo's record at Lone Star. 5 races, 3 wins, so he certainly likes it here.
And the way the track was playing last night, if you get speed and you get to the inside, you were in pretty good shape. 6th race. Scratch number 7, Gordon Anthony out of this one. This is a $10,000 claimer at a mile.
Yeah, another really competitive race. I went with Danny Pish's horse, Comedian, based on the fact he won 3 starts last year. He looks like he's coming to hand. 2 starts back, he finishes 3rd. Last time out, that was really a tough luck defeat going a distance of ground. Claimed by Pish. You look at Danny off the claim. He's really good at spotting horses that are sharp. Sometimes you don't have to move horses up. You just find horses that are sharp, claim them, enter them where you should, which this horse is back at the same level that he was claimed. So I give Comedian a slight advantage. Big money machine for Broberg, and again, Echoberry, another one with a narrow loss last time out. If you go back through his PPs, he's run numbers, good enough to win. His most recent win earned a 75, which I think would win this race today. Another horse moving from $4,000 all the way up to $10,000, but again, sharp horses can handle jumps like that. Victory Boulevard finished in front March 17th, so 2 starts back in front of my top pick, Comedian, was 9-1 on that particular day. Then threw in a clunker last time out, but that was against better than he faces here today. So I really like this horse. I'd love him on a wet track, but we are so far from wet. It's ridiculous. So anyway.
You know what? I got the same picks in the same order. I can't add anything, so let's move right ahead here. We got a 10-race card and a video race coming up, so let's move ahead to the 7th. 5/8 of a mile, $15,000 claimers. No scratches out of here, but Jose Alvarez has picked up the mount on the 7, Agent McGee, as Richard Aramia is not here today.
Yeah, the 8 Sam's time, last time out, ran on our turf course for the first time, obviously, in his young career, and was very impressive. Went 44 and change and drew off to beat non-winners of 3 for $25,000. Typical Broberg, puts him in a spot to repeat, drops him in for $15,000 in an open race. But that was a very impressive performance. Showed a little bit of the promise that he showed in his career debut in 2021 at Keeneland when he ran an 84 Beyer in a very strong career debut. So Sam's time looks to be in just super good form right now. The 7, Agent McGee, you got to like this horse. 7 turf sprints, 2 wins, 3 seconds. Just a picture of consistency. When Aramia's been aboard, he's been, really effective. If you just look at those, his best races come with Richard, a legitimate turf sprinter. Won't make it to the early lead, but he's always around late. And then let's go to Samurai Cause. Bred for turf, has never raced on turf, interestingly. I noticed, I looked it up, the dam, was an allowance turf sprint winner at Saratoga. Her races on turf look very good. First Samurai is a little bit above average as a turf sire. Good, really good main track form. So, and J.R. Caldwell, who claimed this horse last time out, decided, hey, let's try turf on this horse. And he's been making all the right calls so far at this meeting.
Yeah, I'm right with you on this one. I do have Samurai Cause 4th because Ari Celestic Man always seems to run well over this course, and he had a really fast blowout on April 30th, and he's a seriously fast horse, even though he sometimes goes 2 turns. So I threw him in for 3rd because he's back on his favorite course. But, Sam's time, can't go against him. Love the way he finished in that last race. I mean, he finished really well for a runaway winner. And then Agent McGee, like you mentioned, you got to love his turf sprint record. And Let's advance to the 8th. We got a video here. First of all, Scratch the 1, Papa Molly, and the 7 Texan Boy. You might think it's odd that I'm going to show video of a horse that's going to be odds on, but we're going to watch Popeye's Heart, who's going to be the heavy favorite. He's in black silks. He's way back at the back end of the field as we roll it. This is his last race, 6 furlongs. He is going to be tremendously far back. The graphic might actually be covering where he is. I don't think he's actually even visible in the picture at this point. So look to the right edge of the screen, and there he is, way back there in the black silks, left-handed whip. He's in front of, now I'm not sure, is he?
Just 2.
Is he in front of, yeah, he's in front of just 2 there. Now he's coming up. What I liked about this is he was so far back. Forget about the winner. The gray winner's off by himself. But look at him against everybody else, Rick. He's going to even run down this horse that was laying second. No, he didn't quite run him down, but he was past him about 1 jump after the wire. Yep. He ran a really nice third in that race after being nearly a dozen lengths off the lead. And we could see him. He was in front of 2 coming for home and showed great determination through the stretch. I love that about him. I mean, he was already dwarfing these on paper, but just wanted to show that even though he didn't gain a lot of ground versus the leader, like the winner, Axel Steele, won by almost 10. So if you look at his margin against the leader, he was about 9 to 11 lengths off the lead all the way around, and you might think, well, maybe he just passed tired ones. Reason I wanted to show that is he didn't just pass tired ones. He passed everybody except the winner and then the second place horse who he was getting to with every jump and only lost by a head. So that was a legitimate rally, even if it doesn't show up in the margins. That's the only reason I want to point it out. So I'm all over him. I originally liked Papa Molly second, but he's out. So I got our buddy Goliath Ridge, who just broke his maiden in his 47th start, as the second pick, because he ran a legitimately nice race last time. And you know, if Popeye's Heart's rally doesn't come through, someone might be coming from out of it here.
Yeah, Popeye's Heart did break his maiden round 2 turns, albeit on turf, but nevertheless has that 2-turn win. I looked at the replay, you know, just to see why the horse got so far behind, and the winner actually hurted him out quite badly at the break. But nevertheless, Luke Silver, I believe, was second choice and had the absolute perfect trip in that race as well. So, you know, we don't want to talk too much about a horse that might be 4 to 5, but nevertheless, he can run that race back. He's going to win. The 6 with the band, good record, not career record, but a Lone Star. 6 in the money finishes. Last time out finishing 4th in the same race. So he finished 1 position, you know, behind Popeye's Heart, less than 2 lengths. But you could see the difference. There's more than 2 lengths difference in the 2. But with the band again, a nice effort. And then I went with the 4. Kind of scratched in the 4 is my third selection, who was narrowly beaten at 7/8 of a mile, just 2 starts back. But again, this one doesn't really like winning races. He just likes getting small pieces.
Yeah. I don't have anything to add to that, so let's move on to our first 2-year-old race of the year. These are always fun. 9th race, Texas bred maiden special weight fillies going the abbreviated 4.5 furlong distance.
Yeah, and I went with the 1 Anna B, who I made 6 to 1. This is more of a pedigree pick. I know the horse had a nice gate work on May 7th, so, you know, but Euro Ears was one of the fastest sprinters we've seen in this region in the last, you know, almost 20 years now. Extremely fast, formal flyer. Has produced Gold Pilot, who's one of the, you know, a really nice runner in this region. Has earned over $242,000. Bred for speed, top and bottom, and I really just feel like she's going to, from that rail post, she's going to make it to that turn quickly, save all the ground, and I just give her a shot at a decent price in here. The 6, Fast Track. I mean, Asmussen, his horses are so prepared for their first races. Last year, he started very fast here with his 2-year-olds. I expect the same from this. A nice gate work, 48-3. The Scarboroughs breed a lot of horses, you know, for Team Asmussen that are ready to win. The Dam, how about this Cowgirl was a stakes winner. Fast Anna produces an above-average win percentage with first-timers. So Fast Track, very logical. And the 3, Glitz and Glamour for Broberg. Golden Sense was a top-notch multiple Grade 1 winner. The works are fast, the fastest of 25 on April 23rd. Broberg not really known for winning with first-time starters. That's probably the biggest chink in his whole armor as a trainer. Is he doesn't really try to get horses to win first time out, but this one seems fit, and I'm going to go with that one third.
You know, I went with Fast Track in here. You mentioned the dam. How about this Cowgirl? Brett Calhoun had her. It's interesting, Asmussen now is actually training for races for Scarborough, because frequently you'd see those Scarborough horses end up at the track with Calhoun. But she raced, the dam did, for Calhoun, won a couple of Texas Stallion Stakes, and she won at First Asking back in 2017. She's a young mare. I mean, she was only foaled in 2015. We could easily be seeing horses of her generation still running here. But I went with Fast Track. I tend to go with likely favorite type horses in these 2-year-old races, and it doesn't always work, but I like her over Queen of Beers is interesting to me. Danny Pish, fast blowout on May 5th. His dam, or her dam, Loop 20, won at First Asking in 2015. I remember that because I was covering the races for John Lees then, and I happened to call that race. Loop 20 ran for Steve Asmussen back then. I'm going to give a shot for her from the outside with an advantageous post. And then Duchess of Lockwood, Jimmy Dodwell, interesting situation here, has a couple of half-mile works. You know, I like the half-mile works leading into these races. I really don't know statistically if it makes any difference versus a bunch of quarter-mile and 3/8 works, but I'm going to take her for third.
Yeah, and I've always mentioned Jimmy Dodwell's dad, Ed, was phenomenal with first-time starter. 2-year-olds, I mean, he was one of the best trainers in this region with 2-year-olds. So Jimmy Dodwell, you know, not as well known as his dad, Ed, at this point in time, but his dad was just phenomenal getting 2-year-olds ready to win.
And if I'm not mistaken, doesn't Jimmy get a lot of horses for Highlander ready?
He does.
And so that's, you know, obviously an operation that wins a lot of races.
Yep.
10th and final. Texas bred, maiden special weight fillies, 7.5 on the turf. Scratch the 8, Olga's Gold Dancer.
Yeah, it's not going to take much of a buyer figure to win this race. The 9, Optimistic Cowgirl, off 2 really nice races on the main track. Career debut sprinting, finishes second. Comes out in a 2-turn race March 25th, a race that was washed off turf at Houston. Was bet down to favoritism, rallied to finish third. The runner-up, Tootie, came back, actually ran a very strong buyer of 62.
Yeah.
This horse is really bred to turf. Dynamic Cowgirl was a nice turf runner. And Optimizer, who's a son of English Channel, is an above-average turf sire. I just felt like with the 2 turns, the turf pedigree, and a buyer of 53, which is already faster than the par for this field, is the one to beat. Expect the Boss is the type that people tend to go for a lot of times. 6 races, 4 second-place finishes for trainer Steve Asmussen. Basically, I mean, not that I could find, not a lot of turf pedigree there. I just think the flashy runner-up finishes, top connections will make the public, you know, bet this one. And then the 7, Cold Night Air. Basically, I could say the same thing, but at least she does have turf experience, having hit the board twice at Houston. And last 2 races on the main were very disappointing. But again, that doesn't appear to be her surface because her main track races at Lone Star last year were really poor.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, she's beaten big double digits every time she runs on the dirt, but her 3 turf races are quite good.
Right.
That's why I used her second here. I'm taking a shot. I think this last race is a race where you might be able to take a little bit of a shot. I'm taking the 3, Just Claire, and I'm pinning an awful lot on a couple of, for this level, halfway decent buyers on the turf. That 44 buyer and a third-place finish at Houston on March 2nd. Was a race where, you know, if she gets that same kind of trip today, she might be able to stalk and pounce. Then if you go back to Colonial in August of last year, she ran a 44 buyer. Colonial seems to attract a pretty nice bunch of horses. Now, she didn't run a whole lot on the turf and maiden special weights last year here, but, you know, different connections from then. She's with Pish now. Pish is, you know, was a little bit cool the first week or 2, but he's really heating up. And I think maybe she could sit a trip here. So I took her over Cold Night Air and Expect the Boss. One more thing before we leave. Going back to the 2-year-old race, I'm glad you brought up Anna B., who's a really intriguing pick. You mentioned that she's a half to Gold Pilot. I remember his maiden race because it's one of the more memorable 2-year-old races. I think he walked out of the gate, but came flying up the inside in a 4-way driving finish, missed by about this much. And he has subsequently become a really nice horse. But I think the early 2-year-old sprint was not really his deal. And with her, though, being by Euro Ears and showing fast works, I'm curious to see if she gets out better than Gold Pilot did. Plus, she's in a different barn than Gold Pilot was then. I'm curious to see if she breaks better, because if she's got some of Gold Pilot's ability, a little better start, she could overcome that inside post and fare very well.
Yeah, and Ronnie Cravens is off to a pretty solid start, so that helps.
All right. Well, that's all we have for today. We'll be back tomorrow in this same time with our analysis of Sunday's races. Meanwhile, today, enjoy the Dollar Day. Hope you enjoy all of our various items on sale for $1. And good luck with the races. And we'll talk to you with the changes and whatnot here coming up shortly.